Hello and welcome back to the Drive to Thrive show. The show all about being yourself, being your best and truly thriving in life, whatever that means to you. In today's episode, we're going to be building upon some of the things we were talking about last week. Today, learning about the meanings and labels which we attach to our experiences, and in doing so, gaining a powerful set of tools that will allow you to take charge of and transform your thinking in any given moment, so that you can manage and optimize your state for the goal or task at hand and future endeavors. And if you think about it, being able to manage and optimize our mindset and state for the goal and task at hand, that would be a pretty amazing skill to have, right? Well, without any further ado, let's get into today's episode. The power of meaning. All day, every day, our minds are scanning the world, looking for patterns, connections, and information which we can use to help validate, back up, and assimilate into our current experiences and knowledge, to help give us an even greater understanding of the world from which to operate. These meanings which we attach to our experiences, situations, results, and even ourselves act like reference points in our minds, the accumulation of which form our understanding of the world. And our understanding of the world forms the very basis of all of our thinking, emotions, our personalities, and our worldviews, from all of which we make all of our decisions and take action. And so, the meanings which we attach to things are incredibly powerful. Let me give you a quick example. Someone who experiences the fear of failure fears failure because of the meaning they attach to it. Let's say that they make it mean that if they fail, it means they're not good enough, they are a failure, and they'll never achieve their goals. And of course, all of these things would make us feel terrible and nobody would want to feel them, and thus they fear failure. So they either don't take action on their goals at all, they don't take any risks in case they fail, or if they do, they don't give it all of their effort so that if they do actually fail, they've got an excuse for this happening. The same happens with the fear of success. Some people fear success because of what they think it will mean if they succeed. They might make it mean that if they succeed, they have to take on a whole load of new responsibilities. They have to become a whole new person. They might lose some of their old friends. And again, because of the meaning they attach to what it means to succeed, this gives them the fear of success. And this meaning making or story writing is going on all day, every day, without you even realizing it. And the tools that I'm going to give you are going to allow you to take conscious, intentional charge of this process so that you can put yourself in the most resourceful and empowering states in the moment and off into the future. Because the meanings that we attach to our experiences don't just affect our thoughts and emotions in the moment, they form our beliefs and understanding of the world from which we operate long into the future. Let me give you an explanation of how this process works. As we go about our days, enter specific situations, have different experiences, our minds take in information from everything that we do through our five senses. We see things, hear things, touch things, smell things, and taste things. And this sensory information about our experiences is passed to our brain through our nervous system. And at this point, once it reaches our brain, it runs through a different set of mental filters to help us to understand how it fits into our current understanding of the world, or even if it challenges it. And once this information has run through all of our mental filters, the last step of the process, there is a very important question asked, which is, what does this mean? And then consciously or subconsciously, we answer that question, give a meaning to that information, to that experience, which is then added as a reference point to our understanding of the world, from which we then make all our future thinking, decisions, and actions from. Allow me to give you a real world example to help you to understand this further. Let's say we have a young girl about 10 years old who's in school, and one day in class the teacher asks her to stand up and read a paragraph of the book they're all reading. She stands up and she begins to read the paragraph, and then she gets to a word she doesn't know and she kind of stutters it, fumbles over it, and makes a mistake. At this point, quite innocently, the whole class erupts into laughter because they're young kids and they find it funny. But our girl standing there witnessing all of her classmates laughing at her takes in this information and consciously or subconsciously asks the question, what does this mean? And then consciously or subconsciously, in the flash of an instant, she creates meanings about this experience. She answers the question consciously or subconsciously by saying, I'm not good at reading. I'm not good at communicating to others. Speaking in front of people is dangerous because it could mean getting rejected or ridiculed. And these meanings she's created are then added to her understanding of the world and herself as reference points. Which means as she goes through her life and approaches or enters any form of similar situation, her brain goes, aha, we've been in a situation like this before and I've got a file for it in my mind. Ah, yes. Reading, communicating to others, speaking in public, these are things I'm not very good at and are dangerous. And so, our brain, trying to be helpful, decides, let's create panic and anxiety, and that fear, panic, and anxiety will stop me from going into that situation and potentially being exposed to these unpleasant things. Fast forward to when the girl is now in her 20s. She has the opportunity to get the job of her dreams, and she turns up for the final interview, and the interviewer says, we'll see you shortly. We're very much looking forward to seeing you. Oh, and by the way, you've to do a quick on the spot 5-minute presentation about what you can bring to this company. At this point, her soul leaves her. She runs off to the bathroom and she's in a state of panic and is unable to go and do the interview. And this is how that process works in real life. And this is an example of how we can create unresourceful meanings which go on to form limiting beliefs and then things like anxiety, social phobias, and things like that. And the process of creating these meanings about our experiences is going on subconsciously all day, every day. But here's the important thing. When we're aware that this process is going on, which you now are, we can consciously decide what we want things to mean to allow us to be in resourceful and empowering states, to create empowering beliefs and understandings of the world and ourselves that allow us to operate in the best way possible, to be who we want to be, feel how we want to feel, take the action we want to take, and create the life we want to live. Because here's the thing. In the very nature of asking what this means, it implies, and here's your quote for today, nothing has meaning until you give it meaning. I'm going to say that again. Nothing has meaning until you give it meaning. And thus, we get to decide what experiences, situations, and results mean and create the meanings that empower us to be, feel, and perform our very best. How exactly can we go about doing this, you might ask? Well, as you're going about your day having your experiences, when you notice that you might be having a mental or emotional reaction to something, like you're getting a bit nervous, anxious, upset, angry, frustrated, whatever it is, when you become aware that you're having a mental or emotional reaction to something, ask yourself the question, what am I making this mean? And once you've asked that question, you'll then come up with the meaning or story that you're telling yourself about what's going on. And once you've got that story elicited and clear in your mind, you can then ask yourself, how resourceful is that meaning and allowing me to be, feel, and act the way that I want to? And if the answer to that question is, it's not very resourceful, then you can ask yourself, what meaning would I like to attach to this? And come up with a meaning that's going to allow you to think, feel, and act the way in which you want to. And of course, as always, this isn't about lying to ourselves, deceiving ourselves. It's about creating meanings that allow us to turn up in resourceful states for the goals and tasks at hand so that we can create the results that we want. Whether that's the result in a specific goal or task, whether that's the result in how we show up as a parent, a partner, whatever it is. All day, every day, we're writing these stories. And by asking ourselves, what am I making this mean? We elicit the story. We can then decide how resourceful that story or meaning is in allowing us to be, feel, and act the way we want to. And if it's not resourceful, we can ask, what would I like to make this mean instead? And create a meaning or story that allows us to think, feel, and act the way in which we want to. Let me give you a personal example of exactly how this works. Not too long ago, I was delivering a workshop inside someone's private Facebook group. I believe it was a workshop on the mindset of overcoming emotional eating. It was a workshop I was being paid for, and so I was going live at 7 p.m. I went onto my laptop about 20 to 7, set up the Facebook Live, had it all good and ready to go, and then I went away, had a quick shower, grabbed a glass of water, and came back. And then at 7 p.m., I've hit go live. And Facebook goes, you are going live in 3, 2, 1. And then there was a long pause and nothing happened. And then all of a sudden, I'm live and I can see there's people coming online. And of course, I'm delivering a live, so I'm quite energetic. I'm like, hello, how you doing? Nice to see everyone. Please, as you come on, say hello in the chat box. Let us know where you're from. It's always nice to see where in the world people are connecting from. And there were just crickets. So I kept going, hello everyone, how you doing? As you come on, say hello, it'd be nice to know where you're from, get involved, let's have a chat. Tumbleweed. Nearly 2 minutes had passed and nobody has said hello. There's now about 20 people on this live, and I'm thinking, this is awful strange. I did an introduction with these people last night and they couldn't get enough of me. They were so engaged and involved, and I tried one last time, hello, how you doing, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, someone comments and goes, hello, I'm Stephen from Glasgow. And at that point, I go, fuck. That's not someone from that private Facebook group. That's one of my friends. What the hell has happened? And somehow, when I went for a shower, the page refreshed itself, and instead of going live in this private Facebook group, I've now gone live on my personal Facebook profile. So there's now 20 odd people expecting a workshop on overcoming emotional eating, and I just ended the live without explaining anything to anyone, and in a mad fluster tried to find the Facebook group I'm supposed to be in. And as I'm looking for that Facebook group to get into it, I notice my heart rate has increased. I can feel perspiration on my forehead. I'm beginning to lose my ability to think clearly. I can feel the stress coming on. And being aware that that was happening, I caught it and asked myself, what am I making this mean? And the story that came up was, you're an idiot, you're unprofessional, you've made a fool of yourself, the people in the group are going to be annoyed at you. And I went, whoa, 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 whoa. How resourceful is that? Not resourceful at all. Okay, what would I like to make this mean instead? And I said, I made a mistake because I'm human and sometimes humans do stupid things. I feel much better about that. I got into the group, I went live, I explained to them all what happened, and they were in hysterics. They absolutely loved it. And so, had I not had this skill and these tools in my tool belt, I would have continued to look for that group in a frantic place, potentially taking longer to find it. Got in there feeling guilty, stressed, flustered, on the back foot, and that would have all showed in my presence as I was talking to these people. But by being able to recognize that the meaning making process was going on, take conscious charge of it and transform it, I put myself back into a resourceful and empowering state that allowed me to show up exactly the way that I wanted. And here's the cool thing. This doesn't just work mentally and emotionally. Changing the meaning that we give to our experiences can also have a physical effect on us too. there was a study by a man called Dr. David Yeager, and he did a study on stress with adolescents. And in this study, he helped these adolescents through teaching them about how stress can be beneficial to change the meanings they had about stress. And when he did this, it changed the effect that stress had on these adolescents. Because so often we're told that stress is a negative thing. When we get stressed, we release cortisol. That cortisol increases our heart rate, which actually lowers the stroke volume of our blood. We've heard that the blood leaves our peripheries and goes into our big limbs so that we can either fight or flight, and we begin to lose the ability to think logically and rationally. But after giving these people a new meaning about stress, something completely different happened. They actually released less cortisol. They were able to keep conscious charge of their mind and think much more clearly. They were able to keep a higher stroke volume in their blood, and they also kept blood flow to their peripheries. And this isn't just something I'm telling you about from a study. I've used this as well. Just the other week, I was getting acupuncture. And if you've ever had acupuncture, you'll know they fire wee needles into your skin. And sometimes when they pop the needle into your skin, they then give it a wee adjustment to make sure that it's touching the certain nerves or energy centre which they want it to. And as the practitioner popped the needle into my skin, they went to adjust it and it felt slightly uncomfortable as they did that. And because that discomfort is a stress on the body, I got that feeling of a hot flush. I got that sensation of sweat beginning to appear on my forehead. I noticed that my heart rate was going up and my thinking started to go a bit faster. And in that moment, I caught it and said, "It's okay. This feeling that I'm having is just my body mobilizing resources to help me to focus on what's going on. It's okay. This experience that I'm having in my body is just my mind and body mobilizing resources to deal with the physical stress it's going through." And by giving a new meaning to the experience I was having, all of a sudden, my mind began to clear. My heart rate began to slow. And here's the coolest thing. As the practitioner was putting in the needles, my body stopped tensing and flinching as they were doing it, and I remained completely relaxed. And so the meanings which we give to things are so powerful mentally, emotionally, and physically, right here and now in the moment, and also long off into the future through the beliefs and conclusions we form about ourselves and our experiences. And here's something else cool for you to take note of. This reframing and rewriting our meanings doesn't just work for helping us to reframe negative or unhelpful situations, it also works with positive situations too. We can use this to help us create empowering meanings and empowering beliefs about ourselves that will serve us long off into the future. For example, let's say that you have a week where you've got a load of goals you want to achieve and you're going through your week and unexpected challenges pop up. They put you off, they make it more difficult, they hold you back, but you continue to do your best, give it your all, and you reach the end of the week and you've achieved all of, if not the majority of the things that you wanted to, and you're sitting there thinking, wow, what a week that was. At that point, you could ask yourself, what am I making this mean? And at that point, you might come up with a story. It means that even in the face of challenges, I can still give it my best and achieve the results that I want. Wow, isn't that an empowering statement or belief to have about ourselves? And so, as you go through positive experiences, enjoyable experiences, empowering experiences, let's capitalize on that and ask what we make these things mean and add resourceful and empowering meanings to our mindsets that are going to serve us long off into the future. And this brings today's episode nicely to a close, where we've learned all about the power of the meanings which we give to our experiences, situations, results, and ourselves. We learned that all day, every day, our minds are scanning the world through our five senses, looking for patterns, connections, and information, which when we take it in, we then ask, what does this mean? And assimilate it into our understanding of the world as reference points. We learned that these reference points which we create form the basis of our beliefs, our thinking, our emotions, our personalities, and our worldviews, which are all of the things that form our decisions and actions, which of course then form the quality and quantity of results which we create. And so, if we want to give ourselves the greatest chances of creating the life and results that we want, if we want the greatest chances of being, feeling, performing our best, and thriving, we want to take charge of the meanings which we give to our experiences. And we learn the way in which we can do that is when we notice we're having a mental or emotional reaction to something that we would consider unpleasant, negative, or unresourceful. As soon as we become aware of that, ask ourselves the question, what am I making this mean? And then from here, decide how resourceful is that meaning I'm giving to this experience. And if it's an unresourceful or disempowering meaning, then ask ourselves, what would I like to make this mean instead? And give it an appropriate meaning that empowers us to be in a resourceful physical, mental, and emotional state for the goal and task at hand that also serves us long off into the future. And so, all that's left for you to do is to become aware of this meaning making process. You know that old cliche of your life is a blank book and you get to write the story? Well, it's true. Your mind is a blank book as you go through your experiences, and you get to write the stories about what your experiences mean about yourself, your abilities, and the world. So please, write the stories and meanings that empower you to be, feel, and perform your very best so that you can achieve your goals and thrive. If you're enjoying these, please make sure to leave a 5-star review and even share an episode with a friend. I very much appreciate it, and it hugely helps to share this message with others and empower other people to thrive. Until next time, take care, please be kind to others, and I'll catch you real soon. Peace.